Good morning. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. Great to see you. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Let's see who's here. Just getting settled in. What a beautiful day. Should have opened the window before I started, but then we'd hear the rooster out there doing his song continually. Kira, good to see you. I can't wait to see you. We have some stuff coming up in person. Kirsten, good to see you. I've been having technical difficulties on my phone today because I spend a lot of time when I'm driving, which is a lot, leaving voice messages, and for some reason my speaker hasn't been working, so I've been leaving dozens of voicemails all over the place that are like empty Valentines with nothing in them. I will figure that out. I'm happy you could make coffee time too. I know you're having some busy days, and my mom is on for coffee time today. She's usually at her class today at her group. So good to see you, Mom. Is it drizzling there? Only an hour away too. Maybe it's headed this way now. It's such a beautiful sky today. A little bit of red on the tops of the trees and then just blue. Beautiful early autumn day here. Linda, good to see you. Happy Monday, new week, new coffee time. Robin, you posted such a beautiful photo last night of your yard, I think, with your pup out there. Gorgeous Wisconsin sunset. That was so pretty. Barbara, good to see you. I am so glad you can be there too. Happy coffee time, Carol. Happy coffee time, sunny and beautiful. We're getting a flash of nice weather now. That is nice. Donna, good to see you in sunny Alberta. Great to see you. Chrissy, yay, we're here again. It's so good, isn't it? Particularly on Mondays. It's real pick me up for me to run the show on Monday because I'm in that weird dip of the weekend, coming off the bridge of the weekend where I'm on the weekend bridge going, oh gosh, what a busy week I have coming up, and not sleeping well, thinking about all the things that I need to do in what order and all of that, and trying to think about the things I forgot and dropped the ball on before they happen. And Monday can be a really tough day to get back in the saddle, can't it? I mean, whether you're working or not. So it is nice to be together on Mondays. It really resets things for me. April, good to see you. Beautiful fall day. And Jennifer, Jennifer's asking, will anybody be attending the ATHA Biennial next year in Kansas City? Let's have a coffee time meetup. Yeah, let's definitely do it. I will definitely be there. I wanted to be there this year, but I had so many classes planned over that time. I had like 3 in-person classes. And with my business being small and, just kind of getting going, I didn't want to lose those 3 classes. That was a lot of income for me, but I'm going to plan forward for myself. I'm answering for myself next year. I definitely want to be there. I certainly plan to be there, and I'll make sure that my calendar reflects that before I get carried away and plugging in lots of events. But everybody else answer too, because that will be a fun thing for us to get together at, right? That's a real proper event. And today is the day that I want to look at the new ATHA magazine as well. Oh dear, there's lots more comments. Let's see. I almost started. Remember to give the thumbs up. Thank you, Kira. Sue's great to see you. Doreen, great to see you in upstate New York. Jill, great to see you. Good day in Virginia. Nessa, great to see you in New Mexico. Hot and dry. Oh, I'm very glad that you're there. Welcome. And Cindy, good to see you. Northern Illinois. Tara is on in Canada. Good to see you. Donna, hello from Tennessee. Hello right back to you. Happy Monday. Catherine, happy Monday in Idaho. Dave, you are on. I did have a great weekend. I hope you did too, drinking percolated coffee. Old school, that's my favorite. I have not gone for the Keurig cups yet. I love the smell of it dripping and the sound of it dripping. I just can't get into the Keurig cups. It is old school and it's so nice. Marty, great to see you. You posted some beautiful stuff this weekend. I was jealous and sad I didn't move faster, but I was running around a little bit with the kids. Catherine. Okay, Catherine says she plans to go. Excellent. All right. Yeah, I hope there's lots of buddies there. That'll be a great opportunity to say hi and actually hang out with each other. Much inspiration in the New Mexico area. Ain't that the truth? Yeah, I've been thinking a lot and doing a lot with that part of the world lately. So that is a huge to be continued. But for this morning, happy Monday, everybody. I hope it was a good weekend. It was actually quite hot for us here in Connecticut. And I took the kids to my mom's because I had to do a rain date on the dye class that was supposed to be last night because I'm having a supply problem. And I'm getting real worried about all kinds of supply problems right now. because there's also, you've probably heard, a massive linen monk's cloth problem right now. So I'm getting a bit panicked about everything. My supplies were late, so I'm going to run that class later in the month, and I'm just firming that up later today with the people involved. But because I didn't have that class, I decided it was my only open weekend between now and what feels like death. So I took the kids up to my mom's because we haven't done it for a while. It seems like we're always on the move, but we haven't been to my mom's for a while. And they love going there. So we went up there. And on Saturday, it was such a beautiful day when we woke up. We decided to do a corn maze, right, Mom? And it was super fun. But it was only about 72 degrees, but that sun was beating down like a treat. And by being a bit sarcastic, it was terribly hot. And I had this garment on, and it's like, synthetic, and it's got kind of long sleeves. My mom washed it, thankfully, since then, because I was ready to put it in the wring it out and put it in the garbage. It was so hot, and we were stuck in that corn maze for a while. It was a great day. It was a very festive day as soon as we got out of the corn maze, but we were in there for a long time, and I was starting to panic about sunscreen on Teddy. And the ironic thing was the corn maze, it was Brown's Harvest, which is one of my all-time favorite farms in Windsor, Connecticut. Beautiful farm, tons of stuff to do besides the maze. But the theme was the Tree of Life. And in the center, there was a giant heart, that had been cut out. And the parts where you walk, of course, are the dirt parts. So it's just this giant dirt opening in the center that was a heart. And it was kind of ironic, this Tree of Life, because by the time we got to the center, my mom and I, didn't think we were going to make it. And we were starting to lay down in the dirt in the middle of this heart. And my mother was saying things like, they're going to find our bodies here next season, like that kind of thing. So it was ironic, a little bit ironic. But note to self, more corn mazes out there, super fun with the kids. Don't do it when it's too hot, right? I'd prefer if it was just too cold, but it was too hot, and it was still very fun and festive. Lots of those days coming up, I hope. So we survived that, yeah. Very confusing. I think the confusion part is like the intention, because it has you make these long jags in different directions and lots of dead ends. But it was exciting. It was very exciting to see the exit. Teddy found it first. I thought he wasn't going to make it for a while, but I'm not strong. We're not strong enough to carry these kids at this point. I mean, it was turning into like survival of the fittest, no child left behind kind of adventure. We made it in the end. Yeah, Kira, right? And I was just thinking, God, I hope I don't have to go to the bathroom. And that's always what I think at my age now. And my mom too, do they have a bathroom here? But I mean, we were in there so long. They should have a bathroom in the heart at the center of the maze, because at that point, heat, panic, everything, it's like necessities, right? Super tough, but it was beautiful. And it put this sort of germ in my head of like, it is time. It is autumn time. This is seasonal, happy times. Let's get out there. Let's do this stuff. That particular place, starting next weekend, is going to start showing Halloween type movies like The Great Pumpkin and that Square Pumpkin movie, Spookly, every weekend. So that'll be so nice, and I hope they're doing things like this in your area too. Oh no, Catherine, I hope I didn't put you off. They have smaller ones too, and some places have like 3 levels or 2 levels of maze. This one had the maze that you could complete if you were drunk and blindfolded. So we did that one in 3 seconds. And then the other one was just the one option for this one maze that really looked in the picture like super simple. But yeah, we were, what do you think, Mom, an hour and a half? People were passing us. They were like, how long have you been in here? And we were like, we don't know if it's days or hours at this point. We've been in here so long. It was rough. Joy, good to see you. A bathroom and beds to rest, right? An IV of like fluids, right? It was fun. It was fun. So today I want to do a few things. I want to catch up with you on a few things. I want to brainstorm and get your opinion on a few things. I did notice that the great rug hooker, who I hardly ever mention, Doris Eaton, the anniversary of her death is coming up. So I want to cover that because I have not looked at her book in great detail, just touched on it here and there. So I want to do that, and I've got to think of a day when it would be good to do that, because I realized I will not run coffee time cocktail time on Friday night because it's Jocelyn's birthday party. So her birthday is actually Thursday, and we're going to do a quick live show Thursday when she gets home from school because she is determined to see you and to show you how to make balloon animals. So nothing to do with raw cooking. I'll just do a quick live show because that's what she wants. That's the number one thing she wants to do on her birthday is come live into our group and show making balloon dogs. And I will release the free balloon dog pattern that I did on that same day for her birthday. So that'll be nice. But because it's her party on Friday right after school, I do not know when I'll be able to get people out of the house, if you see what I mean, or out of the yard. So I don't dare plan something on that night because it might be, we've got some hangers on. And I just don't know. But I will be doing, hello, Carrie. I'm so sorry. Number 4s. And I still can't read. So we will be doing a show on Doris Eaton for sure because I feel like we need to revisit her life, all the things that she did. She was just such a legend. I'm seeing lots of things pop up on her because I think she died in 2000, maybe 17, was it 17, 18, something like that. First week of October. So that'll be a show that's coming up too. I'm not going to drop the ball on that one. That's important. I want to cover this new issue of ATHA magazine, right? That'll be fun. We're going to do that in a minute. And I wanted to show you a couple things I'm working on. Reminder, the Designing Like Frida class is coming up. I just finished one of the Frida biographies, and it was fantastic. I was listening to it. I'm going to listen to it again before we run the class. I've got so many ideas on exercises to do during that class to get you going with designing in the style of Frida Kahlo. And so perfect for this time of year. I was a little bit backed up at the beginning thinking about should I do it, should I not do it, because so many of the images are a bit challenging in terms of being graphic, right? Graphic content. But looking through her stuff a few times and going through the book and the content that I want to do, I think I'm going to say, I initially said I'm going to go heavy on her still lifes, and I will do something with that, but I am going to include the large body of her work, which is her self-portraits, which are sometimes quite challenging and a bit graphic. And it's all for a reason. It's not gratuitous blood and graphic content. You know, she's a storyteller, and she's a proper folk artist who told stories through her pictures. She's a great feminist, you know, a great one for big statements, and her paintings reflect that voice. So I don't want to crop that voice by not giving an episode that really reflects the themes that are the most important to her, which are sometimes a bit on the heavy side, the graphic side. It will be a beautiful, colorful class, full of interest, and you will end up designing, or at least starting the designs for many, 5 or more different Frida designs that are like something that she would do. Not copying her work, but working in the same style she did with the same things in mind. So that will be a lot of fun. That is coming up definitely on Sunday. I know I'm running it twice, so yep. Oh, it's coming up first on Wednesday, so the day after tomorrow, the 29th at night, not at night, 6 to 8, kind of at night, and then again on Sunday. And I'm at the Weathersfield Fair in Connecticut on Saturday, if you're around. That is a beautiful historic town, and they have their exhibit going, Scarecrows on Main, which they've done every year for a long time. Beautiful thing. Plus this great historical society craft fair, which will be great. I will be at that. Ribbon Candy Hooking will be at that. I'll be there with it. And then, yeah, Frida Wednesday, Frida Saturday, and also in Madison, Connecticut, the Sugar Skull class is also on Sunday, but earlier in the day, making these sugar skulls. I'm going to pop these on the website right now, too. This one's got a lot of metallic thread in it. But there are, I think, nine or more of these different designs I did for, you can put a dowel into them if you want. I have dowels, just ask me if you want one. I won't charge you extra if you want to put them like on a stand, because I finished the back of that one. But all of these sugar skulls are different. They're meant to be a bit sort of happy and cheerful and silly. But those kits are available, and they're not super expensive. I have them quite low so that we can use some of our really bright seasonal fabrics that I'm dyeing right now. Really great kind of Halloween, bright, spooky colors, that kind of thing. Or you can say autumn colors for me, not spooky colors. Lots of choices, but I'll pop that on the website later today. So that's coming up this weekend. Lots coming up this weekend, including the Frida class. So do you remember how I was struggling with the Frida piece that I was working on? I'm going to show it to you closer up. I love the design that I did because it was based on that reliquary type mirror that she bought, an antique thing, and painted inside of. Hello, Lisa. But I struggled with the face, and I just am not the kind of person who, if it doesn't look exactly like her, because it's supposed to look like her. If it was just supposed to look like a person, the person's face looked great. I had to savage it, I'm afraid. But it didn't look like Frida. And no matter what I did, it didn't look like Frida. And you helped me at the end of the day because I said, what do you think? Should I do like spooky, Sleepy Hollow, do a pumpkin for the head? And a lot of people wrote and said, no, do the skull for the head. It's much more in the spirit of things. So I'm not done yet, but I hooked in this head, right? And I tried to do a bit of, rib stuff on top. I'm so happy with all these flowers and stuff I got going and the two birds. And I started striping out her skirt early this morning with kind of a rust and more of a dark reddish kind of aubergine color. But I think that's all working out well. I put quite a bit of velvet and a few leaves in her hair. She always braided her hair with fresh flowers from her garden. And you see this bit here, little sort of hat tip to her, always having enormous earrings. Let me see if I can get that in focus. I'm going to show you what I did here. See a few loops of bling hanging in there next to the skull. I don't want to say her because it's a skull, right? So that's a bit depressing. But you know what I did? And I know you know what I did. I'm just going to say it anyway. I'm going to take my hair down. This one curl. I have a pair of scissors in the driver's door of my car. I don't know why, to open salami. I'm going to tell you why in Slim Jims. Shameful secret. But as I'm driving and I go like this to my hair, sometimes I just cut pieces because I think, why is that piece longer than the other piece? And I have to move those scissors because I keep cutting bits. And it should leave it to the hairdressers, right? Because it's causing me a lot of grief right now. So I went into my little trove of junk to try to find something very blingy to hook that earring on the skeleton. And I found this tremendous thing, right? It's not even lame, it's much cheaper. It's just kind of a foily looking thing with a sort of a William Morris print, and I really loved it. And I thought, that's the very thing. But reminder to self and a reminder to you, this is the way things like that want to hook. So this is the piece. If I can bring it in. Can't bring it in, but can you see at the bottom that it's playing its reindeer games over here? Does not hook well. That's the moral to the story. Does not hook well. So you know how it does hook well? By well, I mean it hooks. Stuff like this, if you like me are determined to use stuff like this and it isn't going to hook well, there are two things that you can do. One of them, and what I did in the end, I lent heavy on this kind of serged edge because it was stronger. So I used some of that. You can see I used the end of it. But what you can do is fold it over like a ribbon multiple times, right? And tuck, almost like using one of those bias tape makers, tuck it inside itself. So you just have a bigger piece to hook in and you get something a bit more substantial. The other thing you can do when you're hooking with gossamer stuff like this is use what's called a carrier, which means a strip. And you literally, it's fiddly, but if you're not doing the whole piece this way, right, or if you have more patience than I've got, you put like the gossamer piece on top of a regular strip of wool. And the strip of wool is the carrier. And it becomes much thicker as a result. So when you pull through, you're really still pulling through the piece of wool, the strip, but you've got your very difficult gossamer piece on top. And that's how you get it. You force it, square peg, circle hole, right? You force it through. And in the end, it worked. So I'm happy with the way this is looking at. I'm actually looking forward to hooking the rest of it. Now, I'm going to do cat out of the bag stuff. I've got a bunch of things coming out for you for this month, for Halloween. It's one of my favorites, right? Halloween and Christmas for me are my favorites. I try to work for every holiday and everybody's religion, everybody's culture, everybody's favorite things. But for me, I love Halloween, and the kids really get going at Halloween. So my normal collection is out, which is huge for Halloween. It's like 6 or 8, I think it's 8 pages of just Halloween designs. And there's a nice video going, a great song that I recorded years ago, cabaret years, with my good friend Joe Monona, and I wrote the words to much of that song, so I'm very proud of that. If you watch that, takes you right through all those Halloween designs. It's a nice little compilation. But I still want to introduce some more stuff for Halloween and for the season in general. So I'm working on a series of cat out of the bag, because we're getting to the mark, the October 1st mark. Cat out of the bag. I'm going to be releasing this week a series of 3 very non-traditional, I don't want to say florals, but still lifes, right? Because as rug hookers, we are very used to seeing a basket or a vessel filled with branches or a plant or flowers or something like that. One of the most common motifs in rug hooking. So I'm putting out 3 this month that are non-traditional and not very conventional. But at first glance, they look a little bit traditional because they are this sort of bouquet composition. And all 3 of them are going to feature poisonous or killer plants, because I found this great book called Killer Plants that I have been enjoying immensely, about plants like fly traps, like that family of plant, but also more common plants that you hear about but don't know they're poisonous, like nightshade, foxglove, hemlock. I think Socrates let us know that that wasn't a good one to ingest. But I thought it was a neat subject, using these killer plants as compositions for our October kits and patterns. So I've got 3 of them coming, and Lisa, different Lisa, is working on one of them. I think she's got nightshade. She might have foxglove. I think she's got nightshade. I have Venus flytrap, and this is a wacky one in a wacky vessel. And I really need your opinion here, because I am struggling, and I don't have time to spin my wheels. I can kit this in any way, but I really want to get your feel for the definitive. This is a sort of tikka cup, like when I drink my Mai Tais whenever I go to a Chinese restaurant, those crazy mid-century tikka cups, right, very Eastern island, with fly trap coming out of it. So I'm trying to decide whether I want this to be, now I have to say the borders, right, it's kind of mimicking like fire, tikka fire, that episode of the Brady Bunch, right, when they went to the island and saw Vincent Price, or any episode of Scooby-Doo, right, kind of mimics that kind of feel. But big vase or cup of fly trap with this crazy character in the middle. I've only done one eye so far. And the borders are going to be much more sort of Halloween colors, like orange and blacks, like really straight up, that kind of thing. But I'm really struggling with the center. And if you can see, I'm putting confetti into the background, kind of pinks and orange into the background. I'm really struggling between what works better. Is it the light white sort of color, which to me I like, but it looks a bit summery, or this darker color, which is like the antique black with more colors in it? I just can't decide. You can see I've hooked quite a bit of both, and I'm not getting anywhere with it. I'm getting to the point where I have to put it down because I'm frustrated. So I wonder if anybody has any great feedback. I don't know if it's more important to make the colors sing or to make sure that it looks like a Halloween month design. I guess that's where I'm at, because the black I think makes it look more like a Halloween month design. Lily of the Valley, that is another one. That's another good one. Oh, I wish I would, that one is in the Killer Plants book too. I'll bring the Killer Plants book tomorrow, because it's just a great book to look at and to read. And if you have any interest in gardening, it's a little hardcover book, like a little, a souvenir type coffee table book. It's a fun read. It's a fun little history of these plants. Chunky necklace. Oh, shoot. I forgot about the chunky necklace. Oh, no. You're right. I could use a chunky necklace, Catherine. Oh, man. You know what? Maybe I can get rid of some of these ribs. Sound like a doctor now. Usually sound like a dentist when I talk about going in and unpicking things. But, yeah, you're right. I should really have an enormous necklace. I'm going to do it. And that'll give me another chance to play with this metallic stuff, right? Oh, everybody's saying the dark. Interesting. Reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors. Absolutely. Suddenly Seymour. Me too. Absolutely reminds me of that. Okay, so it's the dark. It's all dark. I was really struggling because I felt like the light looked better. But I was erring more on the dark side because spooky times, right? Thank you. That's just what I needed, was that input. Good. I feel better. So be looking for daffodils are in there too. There's a lot that are in there that are everyday flowers. Interesting, right? How long will you have the... Carrie, I will always have the Maud Lewis patterns on my site. I'm hoping that they are there because I forgot to check. Yeah, I have at least 3 that I did that are in the style of Maud Lewis. The boomerang flowers, the cats, the smaller cat. That was actually... I've got 4. Halloween Fluffy. I haven't been back to this one yet. The one with the cottages and the low dip in the valley. And what was the other one? Oh, the toque fluffies under the trees. So there should be 4 in the shop. Let me know if there's not. They should be there because I thought they were. I'm not good at that stuff, but I think they were there. Let me know if they're not. Those mods will always be available as patterns or kits or on fiber tape or as downloads or whatever you want, whatever works for you. But they will always be there. And that's what these classes, these monthly classes really is meant, the classes are meant to bring about this idea that you can, there's a lot of artists, like Maud Lewis, who is copyright free as of January 1st of this year. There are a lot of artists that you can hook directly the way that they drew them, and there's not going to be painted, not going to be any issue. But the classes are still like more like, using, collecting all of the tropes, right? All of the tricks and little devices that that particular person employed in their work, right? Over the course of their career, putting them all into a list and saying, okay, it has a shape now. These are the things they did it again and again. These are the tricks that they played with color and light. These are the tricks they played with composition. It's like a jigsaw puzzle that we're just fitting the pieces in. And what I do in these classes is I lay out all of the things that I can think of, the most obvious things to me. These are the things that this person does. These are the most characteristic things. So if you do these things, your work is bound to look like this artist. And with Maud Lewis, those are the 3 or 4 that for me came up as just the natural evolution of her style, using her sorts of symbols and her motifs. And I just love doing it. I just love it. You fell in love with her over the weekend. Oh, she's so whimsical and charming. And, we were saying in the class, the Maud Lewis class, it was last month, saying, I think the best part of her life for her was her childhood, when her parents were alive and they had all the cats around that were all called Fluffy. And, she had a happy time growing up, even though she looked different. She had health issues. She had a happy childhood. And I think all of her life, she kind of went back to that moment in childhood when she was painting postcards to sell at Christmas and just having happy musical times at home before life became a lot harder, because she, I hate to say married down, but she lived in a quite big house. Her parents were fairly successful, and those were happy years. I think she spent the rest of her life, that kind of color, that kind of energy, that kind of childlike charm, trying to capture it again. And as a result, it is such a whimsical and sweet body of work. Cheerful. It puts a smile on your face every time. So I'm glad you're falling into that rabbit hole, because it's a nice rabbit hole to be in. So let's look at this. We're going to run over for sure. Let's look at this ATHA magazine today. We'll probably look at it again tomorrow. There is so much goodness in this issue. I have to say, I think this is my favorite one yet. And not just because I have a nice mention at the beginning, which I truly, sincerely appreciate. Oh, Sue says, I wonder about dark purple with swirls of black and gray and burnt orange. Oh, man. Well, that would be the best, wouldn't it? That would be the best. I just can't do any more dyeing on this piece because it's taking too long. But I have to think about that. That would be good. I still have those 2 sides, right? So I could do something very different for the sides to bring in that purple color. I think purple is going to be a good complement to the green, because I have the green for the Venus flytraps in there. And then we're going to go with the black. So, and there's quite a bit of pink in the mug's face. So we'll see how that goes. I might, I guess I could just pull it all out, right? I'm destined to do it anyway, because I've been so unsettled with this piece. But now that I have feedback, I feel like I'm back on track. That's just exactly what I needed. And I'm dying tonight anyway, so who cares, right? Thank you. That's a good suggestion. I love dark purple with rust, especially. But this issue of ATHA is just fantastic. October, November 2021. And, the thing that I like about this magazine that I think makes it different than Rug Hooking Magazine, which of course I also love, is that they really have features in ATHA that appeal to all levels and all tastes. So, for example, one of the first features by Lizanne Miller at Cushing, she talks about hooking fruit, right? Now, this isn't something that everybody does anymore, but it is something that some people do. And, it's very traditional kind of a subject, isn't it? So it's really helpful and interesting where someone's telling you, this is what you do. You see the arrows here, like 2 little headphones? It's very helpful. If you're a beginner and you love traditional hooking, you are not looking to hook something more modern at this moment for this project, then this is a great article for you. It hits you right in the sweet spot, right? Doing bell pulls and stuff. I mean, a lot of people are doing bell pulls, like my buddy Donna at Whispering Hill, because she's covered up every inch of wall and floor and chair space. So now she's bell pulling it up over there. She's been on a bell pull roll for like a year and a half. But this magazine is very good for not just touching on the different chapters of ATHA and what they're up to in terms of excitement. Fantastic ads. I should probably have one in here too, right? To-do list. But, you know, so many different subjects they tackle and so many different levels of ability they're tackling. So it really appeals to everybody. I hope that there is no sort of stigma about subscribing to ATHA magazine because you're not, for example, in an ATHA chapter, because maybe you're just not a joiner and it's just not your thing. You would still love ATHA magazine because it is filled with beautiful illustrations and lots of tips. So, for example, stuff like this. Speaking of Sleepy Hollow, Marilyn Botcher from Sleepy Hollow, New York, the Good Wives chapter. Oh, that makes me want to move to that part of New York where I did live once, because I lived in Tarrytown when I went to Marymount College, the all-girls college, that I don't think is there anymore. And Sleepy Hollow was one town over. But man, I love being in the Nutmeg chapter, but I would love to be in the Good Wives chapter. Doesn't that sound super old and old-fashioned? So this is interesting because Marilyn writes in, and this is what she writes. Dear Cheryl, I read, it's a wrap with your beginning experimenting dyeing with indigo. So I'd like to share what I did using the same kind of kit, indigo, right? I must have received it close to 10 years ago, and I remember it was summer because I did all of the dyeing outdoors, so if anything got spilled, it would only color the grass in my backyard. First, I did the wool fabrics, and then using up the last of the color in the dye, I tried some cotton and silk and yarns. I decided to hook a piece using only these indigo dyed materials. I also appliqued 4 pieces of vintage indigo dyed designs which I had bought in Japan. Now, isn't that a great magpie approach, right? Getting some fabric that you bought while you were traveling in Japan, Maryland, and incorporating it into your indigo piece. Marriage made in heaven, right? Not many of those, but this is a marriage made in heaven. And she says, the Japanese never throw anything out, and you could visit shops which deal in pieces of the most beautiful fabric from obies and other clothing which no longer have a use as clothing. So remnants and scraps, right? The pieces of indigo I had made, I think there's a typo there, I had made into a set of coasters. Okay, so this is what this sounds like to me. I think there's just a little glitch in that sentence. She's included in this fantastic indigo piece, right? Following up on an indigo article that she read in one of the past issues of ATHA. Stumbling over my words, I'm staring at this piece. These are the 4 coasters, right, from the fabric that she bought when she was in Japan, and she made this great indigo connection and thought, wait a minute, let me get those into this composition too. What a great composition. Kind of a tile in the middle. If you look at half of it, it has almost that gravestone top to it. When you look at both, it is its own quirky and unique design. I absolutely love the way that Marilyn has pointed out the sides here with the hit or miss stripies. I love the roundness of it here, like the outlining, the roundness of it against all these squares, right? It's super intuitive, these straight lines and these squares, super intuitive as a designer, Marilyn, to create soft lines around them because it creates balance, doesn't it? It's a very balanced piece. If you notice how light the stripies are here and then how dark they are on the 2 sides, but I just love that she's incorporated these pieces of indigo that she bought in Japan. She created a story that went over the course of many years, the trip to Japan, the 10 years ago doing the dyeing, and she all put it together, you know, into this one piece, which is just, how can you not call that a perfect success? Great things take time sometimes, right? Sometimes they just fly, but, you know, sometimes they take time, and they're worth waiting for. Sometimes the inspiration is half there, 3/4 there. You run out of steam, you run out of time. Things fall by the wayside. It happens to everybody with everything. So it's so nice to revisit older projects with new eyes and create things like that indigo piece was just over the top. There's another great article, and then I'm going to stop for this episode because I got plenty to do here. There's another great episode by Cynthia Norwood called In Consideration of Your Background. Now, it is always so nice, and we were just doing a little bit about, with this, with my background, right, with the tiki thing, the Venus flytrap. Choosing a background is hard, and sometimes when you lay out your colors, you think, I got it. Look at this palette. Doesn't get any better than this. I'm a genius. Mwah, mwah. Sometimes I do that when I'm all by myself. And then I sit down and I hook it, and I do things like, I did and show you and say, it's just not working. I can't decide. Something's wrong. It might not be either black or white. Maybe it is deep purple. You know, we all do this too. This is another classic. So this article is great by Cynthia Norwood in consideration of your background. Hey, Susie. You just renewed your membership, Linda. Good, because you don't want to be out any issues, and you got to pick them off the internet somewhere. It's better to just keep them coming. But this is really great advice. Cynthia Norwood, we've covered at least one of her books. She talks very sensibly, practically, and easily, right? She's a very easy person to read her advice and her thoughts about choosing a background and choosing your background colors. I probably should have read this article first, but I had already started that piece and worked myself into a corner. She uses a nice, the lollipop tree, right? The Magdalena Brenner E.B. lollipop tree motif to show a background. And the article is about, you know, what to do in the background. There's so many choices in terms of texture, color, marble cake, mizzy-mazzy, right? All, whatever you call it, modeled background, plain background, color changing, not color changing. For example, adding, you know, different color for the center as opposed to not, dark versus light. All these considerations for a piece of the exact same color. And seeing this side by side like this is super helpful. She always gets into things too, like comparisons are very helpful when you're looking at stuff like this. How things hook, you know, this is always helpful. Seeing that worked into the piece and deciding whether that an element of like texture, tweed piece, plaid piece is something that you'd like to include. So this is just, this is the really standout article for me in this issue. The Lollipop Tree Runner, she does something like this too. Again, choosing backgrounds, talking about different backgrounds. Really, really useful and helpful. And then she talks about, it goes into, that article ends, but the same chapter, the Houston, Texas chapter, where Cynthia is too, I think. Story and photos by Sandra Ives. The Stash Sisters chapter. That's a great name for that, isn't it? That's another great name. Good Wives and Stash Sisters. Great names. Great article here. Again, if you like to look at different versions of things, beautiful member of that photo of that chapter, the members, and then pages of this design, which again, talk about giving you ideas and inspiration for your backgrounds. Quite a few pages of people hooking the same pattern, right? So interesting. I have to say I love this one. I love them all, but I really love that one. This is ATHA. Marie, this is the ATHA magazine that maybe is just coming October, November 19th. It's night. Oh my God. October, November 2021. What's wrong with me? So anyway, I thought that was really nice. And I got a bit nervous because when I saw all of these things, it looks a lot like a design that I'm working on for November. So I'll probably change my November design because I was working on the November design already, particularly for my November class at Madison Wool. I'm going to show it to you because I probably won't do it now because that was just super similar. So I hate to do things that look like anything else. But I was struggling because for the November class at Madison, I'm doing the Sugar Skulls this weekend. And then for next month, I'm doing this pattern, and I wanted to do something that was all proddy, right, or much proddy, just to do something different because there's a real base group that's been showing up for that. And I decided I wanted to do another vase composition, similar to that one, but I thought instead of a vase, let's not go crazy with predictable stuff, but what about doing a pilgrim's hat tipped upside down? And once I thought of that, I was like, we're good. We're into the goodness now. I know what to do. So I hooked this while I was at my mom's on Saturday, well, Friday night into Saturday. And this is the design. You can see I haven't finished it yet, but I'm hooking like a pilgrim's hat. And then you see how I hooked all of these little guys with different ways. I haven't finished this one. And I'm cutting up tons of proddy leaves. I left a little space around each one. I might have to pull out one more round. But I'm going to experiment with putting different sized proddy leaves behind this whole thing. And it says 20, if you can see embedded here, 21. So this is the project that we're going to do next month in person. I'll probably do a class like this online. I don't know. It's so similar to the other one, like a tall thing with flowers standing up. I don't know, Mom. I might have to do something different. I'll still put this pattern out. I'll put it out as a kit, and I might put it out as a class, but I feel like I have to do a different November one, which is fine. It's challenging, and I love a challenge, so it's fine. But I'm really excited about this, too. I'm really excited about this. So we'll see how that goes. I'll get going on some Prati. And because this is a lot of traditional colors, I pulled some of my... I pulled some of my... What is wrong with me? Oh, right here. Colors out for the possible leaves. Look at that. I think those could be good. Maybe they're a bit too spooky. I might have to do, well, we'll see how it goes. I'll definitely put it out, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be cutting up leaves like crazy today for that there. I might want to introduce some more colors because now that I'm looking at my stack, I feel like maybe the colors are too autumny, if there is such a thing. I just over-dyed this one last night with this green. That was... one of my favorite colors, Radioactive from Dharma. I don't know if you do dyeing at home, but I love Radioactive. I over-dyed this really boring brown. So we'll see some nice tie-dyes in there and a lot of real traditional colors. So I'll see how that goes. I have tons and tons to make kits. So you know what? Why don't we do tomorrow? Why don't we do... We'll continue looking at the ATHA magazine, right? We'll look at a couple other things in that magazine that are really standout things with appeal to everybody. I didn't show you the glass shoes today, which was our thumbnail. The glass shoes, I'll show you those tomorrow. I didn't get there. Glass shoes by Sharon Johnston of Calgary, Alberta. That was today's thumbnail, and I'll show that feature tomorrow. So why don't we continue with ATHA tomorrow, and then on Wednesday... it will do ATHA tomorrow, and then I'll conclude the episode from Friday night on home, Storybook Cottages and Hooked Rugs. That'll be tomorrow's episode. And then on Wednesday, I will close out the week, unless I do a Thursday episode, which I might. On Wednesday, we'll look at this book, which is not exactly hooking, but because the Frida class is coming up on Wednesday p.m., I want to look at this book. It's actually a needlepoint book called Stitchcraft, but it's very different and a bit wacky. And it's full of ideas that I think are good for this time of year, that have a lot of Frida crossover. So I want to look at this with you because it has a ton of Frida crossover, and the Frida class starts on Wednesday night. So if you are interested in that, make sure you sign up either for this coming Wednesday or for Sunday night. And in the meantime, we will have at least 2 more, if not 3 episodes of Coffee Time this week, because I will not be able to run the episode on Friday because of Joss's party. I'm sorry about that. And it's great to see you. Oh, you guys are talking about me, huh? Well, that's okay. It's all good stuff, right? Because you know I can see it right here. Yeah, no, I do exhaust myself. Don't think I don't exhaust myself. I am exhausted all the time. Got to get off those sleeping pills again. That's been such a great way to fall asleep, but it's not a good thing, is it? Therapy, I mean, I can't be perfect. I'm going to therapy, so I'm back on sleeping pills. Well, life is full of little weird compromises, right? But I am exhausted all the time. In a good mood today, and I hope you are too. I'm going to get going. I've got some new orders, and I'm going to get those out today to pace myself for the weekend, and so that we are ready for some great Coffee Time episodes, at least Tuesday and Wednesday, if not another one on Thursday to make up for the loss of cocktail night this week. Have a great day, everybody. It was great seeing you. Happy Friday. Maybe I should get off those sleeping pills. Happy Monday, and I will see you tomorrow. Look forward to looking at the rest of this ATHA magazine and finishing our sort of chapter on the Storybook Cottage in Hooked Rugs. See you then.